Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Mike, and this is Mike's After Action Reviews. And with me today, I have a friend calling a video call via Facebook. Sam, introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, I'm Sam. I've known Mike for since at least the eighth grade, and he asked me to be on one of his reviews for especially this review. I'm happy to be here, and let's get going. Let's get started.
All right, so today we're going to do a review of Godzilla versus King Kong. We both went out and saw it this weekend, and I'm very excited to talk about it now. So as always, we break the reviews down to the four categories: acting, characters, a miscellaneous section for anything that's not any of that, and then the plot as well. And so we're going to start with acting. So my reviews in the past have been pretty long, so I'm trying to shorten them. So I have a little timer here that Sam can't see, but I can see the timer. And so I'm going to be pushing the time. I'm going to be kind of the timekeeper and the host today. So here we go. So I'm starting the time. Okay, so acting. I'll start. So I'll kind of start each category too. So acting, I thought the acting was very good. There were some character stuff, and we'll get into that when we go into characters. There were some characters that I was like, man, I don't know. I have the IMDb page pulled up. Let me see. We have a star-studded cast. Millie Bobby Brown she was from Godzilla King of Monsters and also from Stranger Things. Julian Dennison is the fat kid from Deadpool. Actually, in my notes, I wrote
He played Russell. He played Russell.
Russell from Deadpool. Yep.
Deadpool actually.
Yep.
Deadpool 2. He played Russell.
Lance Reddick is one of the military commanders. Just a star-studded cast. Top billing goes to Alexander Skarsgård, Millie Bobby Brown, and Rebecca Hall. And then I'm looking here, and I think Carl Chandler is the other guy. Now, he was from King of Monsters, and he's in this movie a little bit. But actually, I think that
I would like personally, but he was in it, so that was kind of a good little wink to that movie.
Yeah, I think the acting in the movie itself was very good. What did you think?
I thought the acting overall, from what every character can kind of build up, was definitely very, very well put out. Of course, we'll get into it eventually, but the villain, of course, was a stereotypical villain, acts good, and all of a sudden the plot thickens, and he goes, "Oh, I'm a rich millionaire. I do what I want. We're gonna protect the world out of what I think is right." Stuff like that. But otherwise, besides that, everything, all the actors did all the characters and stuff with very well acted out. It was very well acted out.
Okay, yeah. So I do agree. I do agree that the acting was good. So acting is one of those sections. So we're only 2 minutes in to acting, but acting is one of those things where there's either very little to talk about or there's a lot.
Yes.
And I'm very happy to say that in this one there is only a little.
I find that a little bit talking about acting, unless there's something specific really happens. A little bit of talk about acting is a good thing, because if they acted very well as they did this movie, there's not much to talk about because they did a fairly good job, very good job, and I applaud them.
So I will say that. So Brian Tyree Henry is one of the characters. Now he plays Bernie. Sorry, I have to look around my microphone to see. He plays Bernie in the movie, and like I said, we'll kind of go into the characters here, but he plays Bernie in the movie, and he was annoying. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
The whiskey guy.
Not my favorite character.
Yeah, he was ridiculously annoying, and I'm not sure if it was his acting, and I don't necessarily think that it was. I think that was more of a character thing, but I hope to see more from him in the future. Maybe we can kind of tell if he's going to end up, if that's going to be like, if that was an acting thing or a character thing. But that's kind of a good point to move on to characters. So just very quickly, let me go like this. Bam, lap. Okay. Oh, wait. No, that's not right. Stop. And then we're going to reset the timer. Bam, start. I'll say, so characters. King Kong. Well, so I said Bernie. Bernie was a character who so in the beginning, I was expecting him to become more likable as the movie goes forward. So there's a character named Bernie. He is kind of, since the everything that happened during Godzilla King of Monsters, he's like a conspiracy theorist guy who's kind of tracking everything going on with these Titans, and he kind of gets rolled up with Millie Bobby Brown's character, Madison Russell, and they kind of do like an investigation into some things that are going on with the Titans. But I expected this character to get better as the movie went on, but it didn't. Even up to the last time you see him in the movie, he's so annoying.
Yeah.
I hated that. But let's go over the big ones real quick. Kong. Kong has gotten bigger.
Yeah.
Kong got bigger, big enough to fight.
I've been wanting to talk about this portion. Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. People will say a lot of. I've heard this before, even before that. Before Godzilla King of the Monsters came out, because there's always conspiracies that there's going to be this movie came out, which I forgot did. Everyone always said that Kong was not up to size of Godzilla, and if you remember from Kong Skull Island, John C. Reilly's character, the pilot of World War II, says that Kong is king on this island, and he's only getting bigger. And you see when all the characters go into Samuel L. Jackson, go to the graveyard. They actually see Kong's parents and the relative bodies, and they're at least 3 to 4 times his size. And so everyone I know would always say Kong ain't got nothing on Godzilla, but they didn't realize at the time that Kong got bigger. Yes, he got bigger because he was still growing.
Right.
So when I saw him in the movie, I was like, that's exactly what I thought it was going to be. And kind of a side note, it's kind of funny. I thought that it was kind of funny. He'd stand up kind of straight, like he was walking in the woods. He had a belly, still had a six-pack though. Just a little something that's kind of funny to me.
No, I think actually you and I both exercise, and I will tell you right now, six-packs are the most artificial thing in the whole world. No natural eating animal, now even if they exercise, will get a six-pack. Kong.
I'll give you that one, yes.
Kong's diet would not allow him to have a normal six-pack without a belly. Now, you'll still have abs.
Not. That's another reason why I thought it was hilarious, because I was like, gorillas don't naturally have six-pack. That's why I thought it was good. It reminded me of, if I may, there's a little, there's a bodybuilder named Eddie Hall.
Yeah.
And he's a strongman at 2017. He actually has a six-pack only because he worked on it. He's got a belly to get a six-pack. Besides the one, that's one thing that I thought one little funny thing.
Yeah, no, that was interesting.
We shall move on.
So, okay, and then Godzilla. Actually, Godzilla in this movie, for most of the movie, is almost a bad guy.
Yeah.
Almost a bad guy. And this, I would actually say, just as far as we're going with the characters, Godzilla versus King Kong here. King Kong gets a lot more screen time too.
Yes, he does. I agree.
Yeah.
Which is.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I don't know. It was a bit odd because I was thinking to myself quite a bit. Where's Godzilla? You know, not a bad thing though. Actually, like when you see how they do it, it's not really like a terrible thing. It's just something odd to mention when we talk about the characters.
Of course.
Other characters to mention, I'll just go over some of the big ones immediately because I wrote a bunch of them down. So I have my notes. I wrote a bunch of them down, but really there are just some the big ones. Let me see. So there's a little girl. Actually, the only real big characters that you really need to pay attention to in this movie are Godzilla, because he's in it, and it's Godzilla vs. Kong. Kong, the little girl, and that's really it. Like, as far as named characters, and Millie Bobby Brown and Bernie. Those are like the big characters. Everybody else that's in here has a role, but is not almost just like a side character. I do
story compared to like big name actors. One of the actors in the movie is Alexander Skarsgård. You remember him from probably the Legend of Tarzan,
right?
Of course, and I'll get to that when we get to the time. I find that's kind of funny with his part of the movie in a sense, but he's not really a big name. He's more of a side character compared to the little girl or Maddie, or even Bernie. Those guys, I'll even say Russell, the kid who played Russell. I don't know that name, but the kid who played Russell from Deadpool too.
Yeah.
They all have main like parts of the story compared to, of course, Godzilla and King Kong. Those guys.
So I'm just gonna tell.
Those ones all have like side stories in a sense, but they help bring the story along. It's not just two monsters fighting, duking each other out.
So
it's those guys discussing the actual problems of what's going on in the human world compared to what's going on with those two main characters.
Yeah. So I will say. So Chandler, Kyle Chandler in Godzilla King of Monsters. So he was a human character that really brought everything along. Like he was almost the main character of Godzilla King of Monsters. And in this one, there really is not like a human main character. Like, you know what I'm saying? Except for Millie Bobby Brown. And then the little girl, by the way, is Gia. I just wanted to bring that up because her name is Gia. But the little girl in the movie, in the trailers, you see her as being almost like the whole story is about her. And she actually, even though she is like a main character for as far as what the plot does for the movie, she herself is also not
a side character.
She's not. Yeah, they're all a side character. The only real we have the little girl and she's big for the plot, but she doesn't get much screen time and is a side character. Millie Bobby Brown gets a lot of screen time and her and Bernie get a lot of screen time because they're doing this investigation into the
side quest in a sense.
Yep. And then the rest of it, actually, a lot of it is King Kong.
Finding who he is.
Actually, that's a good way to put it. Finding who he is. I do want to mention one thing about King Kong about his size. So you and I were talking about how he's growing and you always see his family. There's a scene where you see King Kong and he's running through this jungle area. It's not really a jungle, but he's running through like some mountains, and he jumps from one mountain cliff to another, and you see him like grab onto a thing that looks like this. It looks like a hand, and at first I was like, oh, that's just a weird rock formation. And then later you see that there are dead Kong creatures, titans, that are in rock. They're like they've decomposed so much that they're rock, just like this thing that you saw. And I realized that, and this formation that looks like a hand is bigger than Kong's whole body. And I realized that that's because there was a dead Kong creature that was whose hand was bigger than Kong's body. Yeah. And that was just the hand sticking up. So it's like Kong has a long way to go before he.
Yeah, but in that sense, if one were to look into the actual Titan physiology or
physiology.
Yeah, that one. Thank you. I'm not good with English apparently. No, it's fine. No, well, you know me, I never have been. No, but if you look at the physiology of Titan, if one were to actually, because I'm lame, so what am I gonna do? I looked into it, and depending on the species of Titan, they all vary in different sizes. Yeah. Even Kong can vary in size. Since he is the only one, there's no competition for him.
Right, I understand. So he might not get as big as what you're saying.
Or he can become bigger.
Right.
It's an open-ended question.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Like, he might get bigger, yeah.
Yeah, he can either become as big as he is now, or he can become bigger, or he can stay the same. You know, it's an open-ended question. But you have to look into that. That's one of those things where if you're a really big movie buff, like in all this stuff, you could look into it. Yeah. I only did because I was very interested in this movie, and when it's a movie I really look into, I will look into it deeper because that's how I am.
Okay.
But we're not getting into music now.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're gonna. So we took a long time on characters, but that was okay. We stole some time in the acting section.
I figured that would help.
Yeah. So we're gonna move on to the miscellaneous. So the miscellaneous section is just anything else that doesn't really go along with the plot or anything. Like, for instance, I'll start us off. I thought immediately one thing that was kind of a highlight of the movie and something to add is that there's some comedy here. That there's like a couple of things that they do with Kong to make it almost a little bit funny. In the very beginning of the movie, Kong takes a shower. It's kind of a light, like some brevity.
Yeah.
Levity, not brevity, levity.
Yeah.
Also, let me see.
What about where he kind of stands up and scratches his butt?
Yeah, no, some stuff like that.
Like
Also,
light music.
I also liked. I wanted to say that in the movie. So like I said in the trailers, they had all of this stuff with this little girl, and the whole trailer is about she can talk to Kong because she knows sign language, and in the movie Kong knows sign language,
Yeah.
and so Kong will only talk to her and all this. And then, like I said, she actually has a small amount of screen time, but
It's more than what we. It's big in the perspective of the viewer. It's big,
right,
but the way it's the way the previews showed it. She's got a lot smaller role than we think.
right.
But in reality, to move the plot along, she's got a lot bigger role than we would perceive. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. But I will say this: that the connection between Kong and the little girl actually at times, it got me emotional. It did. Like it actually.
Sure.
No, it really
Oh,
actually
yeah,
did.
yeah.
Like I was like, it might just be because my wife's pregnant, but I almost cried a couple of times. No.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm gonna say right now, congratulations. I did not know that. Congratulations.
No, thank you. Thank you very much.
I hope you do very
No.
well.
No.
You gotta tell me this kind of stuff, man.
Oh,
I
I'm
don't
sorry.
know
Well,
we gotta talk more.
we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it more.
We'll talk more.
Yeah, but no, it really the connection actually was really good. In the Godzilla King of Monsters, Millie Bobby Brown has this connection with Godzilla, and
More Mothra than anything else. More Mothra.
well, I was just saying though, Millie Bobby Brown kind of has this thing like there's a scene where Godzilla walks in and he's gonna start fighting King Ghidorah, and you see her kind of smile like, oh, Godzilla's coming, and but there wasn't a real connection. Like you kind of have this idea of her respecting Godzilla or feeling a certain way about Godzilla as far as he's a good guy.
Yeah.
But here
And
it's
that's
like an actual here is an actual almost love and respect connection, a real emotional connection between Godzilla or between Kong and the little girl.
Yes, definitely. I actually felt the same thing, and I feel like that is why. That's why when you say she's got a very small role, yes, small role, but she's got a very big role in the whole scheme of things.
Right.
Because Godzilla, King Kong would attack a certain vehicle. I'm not going to get too far into it because we're going to do that eventually.
Right.
But he would attack a vehicle and he would look into it. And this is, of course, a spoiler for him. Spoiler not. Spoiler. Looks into a vehicle to make sure his woman is not in the vehicle.
Yeah, the little girl.
Yeah. But
that's Sam's phone because he's using phone to talk to me on Facebook.
And I'm gonna say this to Mike's chat. I apologize for any buzzing you hear. I put it on silent, but I apologize ahead of time.
That's okay.
Apparently, a very popular man. I never was in high school. I don't know what's going on now, but that's how it is.
One other thing, okay, so we kind of talked about that. I want to also say that a big problem that I had with the first Godzilla, the second Godzilla, the first and second Godzilla movies is that they would have it, like, so in the trailer for Godzilla King of Monsters, you see King Ghidorah and you see Godzilla, and they run at each other, and then it jumps away in the trailer. And then you were thinking like, okay, so in the movie we're gonna see that fight, and then in the movie it jumps away too, and we were like, what the heck? I wanted to see the fight.
I have the same problem.
The
same thing.
No, okay, so in Kong Skull Island they did not have that problem. Every time that Kong would fight the giant skull crawler or the little you would watch him actually fight. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, and then it would not jump to the humans. Here, whoever made Kong Skull Island that was a part of this movie told the Godzilla people probably came in and were like, okay, well then we're going to jump. And then the Kong Skull Island people were like no. You guys are high. Let's watch them fight. So
I praise this movie for that reason because I watched both Godzilla and I watched both Godzilla King of Monsters. And the one thing we're looking forward to is
the
two
fights.
Big monsters going at it, and all you see is one little hit,
and that's all you see. And you see like half a second of them fight for it. Especially in Godzilla. I don't know how you felt, but in Godzilla,
The first Godzilla was terrible.
It was, and the thing is, it's a great movie altogether.
But that part was terrible, yeah.
But that movie was terrible. And the only time they ever see him fight is the last scene. Compared to this movie, compared to Godzilla versus King Kong, you see every single fight. And I completely agree with you, Mike. It's the fact that someone did something right in this movie to where they say, hey, Godzilla comes here, King Kong's here, you can see Kong running up to go, and Godzilla's like, hey, I'm the king, I'm the god, and King Kong's like, I'm the king, and they actually go out and you actually see it.
Yeah,
and that's what I love about this movie, is that you see the fighting.
The fight scenes are much better here. They are much, much better.
Very much so, yeah.
Is there anything else as far as like a miscellaneous little thing you want to talk about in the movie before we move to plot?
Not really.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty much correct. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the plot now, and I'm just gonna give a plot summary, and then we're gonna kind of maybe compare this to other movies and kind of okay. So basically, the plot of this movie is, and we've all seen it in the trailer. Kong is trapped on Skull Island, and so in the trailer you see him throw a tree, and it hits like a holographic dome.
Yes.
It's because they built a holographic dome.
On Skull Island, because apparently they found a way to actually get onto Skull Island compared to the first movie.
Yeah.
They found a way and they actually could. I'm thinking because of
everything that happened.
Godzilla King of Monsters. I'm thinking of that, or maybe a little before that they built him his dome.
Yeah.
And they trapped him on there.
So they built this dome, and then basically Godzilla attacks a city. But he
Tokyo, I believe it is.
Yeah, he attacks.
Somewhere in Japan.
No. It's in Florida. He attacks the city in Florida. That's what it is.
That's right.
So, he attacks this and the thing that he actually happens to attack is a place called Apex Cybernetics. So Apex Cybernetics says, "Hey, look, Godzilla is attacking people. We need a defense against Godzilla." So they go to Dr. Lind, this Dr. Lind character who is played by Alexander Skarsgård, and they say, "Look, if you can get us into Hollow Earth, there is radiation in the Hollow Earth that we can use to make a weapon to fight Godzilla." And then Dr. Lind says there's some weird thing where he's like, "Well, salmon always swim back to their spawning pools, and there's a theory that there's a natural ingrained biological thing for Titans to go back to where they came from." So he wants to use King Kong to get to Hollow Earth. So
it's kind of like, and actually there's some science, natural thing behind it to where what it is basically what it's describing is what natural animals are, because in a sense Titans are actually animals.
Right.
In a sense.
Yeah.
And so what he's talking about is kind of like how blue whales or not blue whales, killer whales go to the same spawning grounds every year for the rest of their life.
Right.
It's the same concept. It's all.
Right.
And I'm not trying to cut you off.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
What I'm trying to do is I'm piling on the the natural effects of what he's trying to say.
Right.
It's literally what animals have a natural. Most animals have a natural
instinct
going back to their natural homeland or their spawning ground, whatever it is. So Alexander Skarsgård, his character has a theory saying all Titans have this being all animals. So his plan is to get Kong to get to this opening to where Kong will be like, "Hey, something's going on there. I want to go." He'll go, and that's what he wants to do. That's his plan.
To lead them to Hollow Earth. So basically, what happens is, while this is going on, Millie Bobby Brown and this other character Bernie, who's like a conspiracy theorist,
of course Russell.
Right, and he is investigating this shady organization that he believes is trying to just do something shady. They don't even say what it is really in the beginning, but something shady is going on, so he investigates. Now, Now basically they use Kong. They go to Hollow Earth. They get the power source. When they get the power source from Hollow Earth, Godzilla realizes it immediately, launches a laser blast. No, he actually looks down to the Earth. He launches a laser blast.
It's a nuclear breath. And honestly, I'm gonna say this. It's kind of funny because if you are any kind of fan of King Kong or Godzilla back in the 50s and 60s, where were they located at? Tokyo, Japan. That's where they're Korean. Of course, where did they end up? Tokyo, Japan.
Right. So
he does his little thing.
So he launches a laser, like almost like a drill, down into the Earth, the Hollow Earth, and he shouts down. He's like, and so Godzilla does like a roar down into Hollow Earth, and then King Kong looks up and sees that thing, and and then King Kong climbs out of the Hollow Earth, and they have a battle, and then that's kind of the spoiler-free. Go on.
I was gonna ask just for the viewers, what is your opinion? The reason they're fighting in the first place?
No, exactly. Exactly.
Because some people don't know why are they fighting.
Right.
It's actually in the movie. It's part of the plot too, though.
Right. So that's why. That's the plot. So that's the question you need to ask yourself as you're moving into this movie, because that's kind of the spoiler-free plot synopsis of the movie. We're not going to get into any more. We're not going to talk about anything else as far as why they're fighting or anything, because that's all kind of part of the plot. That's the mystery.
Yeah.
And that's where, like I said, Millie Bobby Brown, and it actually just his name is listed as just Bernie Hayes, but I don't remember him ever saying Hayes. But Millie Bobby Brown's character, meaning Stranger Things girl, and then this other character played by Brian Tyree Henry, they are like investigating this shady organization that is doing something, and they kind of figure some things out about why this fighting is going on, what actually is happening. And so
the real, that kind of goes into, without spoiling, that goes into the real reason why everything is happening, why they had to bring Kong into it, why Godzilla's doing this thing, and that's the reason why those guys are just investigating the reason why all this is happening. Because beforehand, if you remember, Kong's on his island doing his own thing,
right?
And of course, Godzilla only comes in when provoked. That's the big hint in the entire movie, is why Godzilla is attacking unprovoked.
No, exactly.
He goes in, if something goes on, he comes in. Nothing's going on, all of a sudden he comes in.
And a big part of the conflicts that occur throughout the movie between so the final battle occurs, like I said, King Kong crawls out. There's also another battle that occurs during the movie, and the thing you have to remember is that Godzilla, and this has been said throughout all the movies, he only attacks when provoked, and he will always find other Titans, and he will try to kill other Titans because he's territorial, but the whole Earth is his territory, so he will go around, and the conflict occurs because if he senses another Titan, he goes to fight it, and Kong is another Titan. Kong is another Titan, so he senses him, goes and fights him. Almost like, so there's Hollow Earth where all these Titans are, and Kong, when skull crawlers would crawl out of the Earth in Skull Island, Kong would sense them and go fight them and kill them.
Yeah.
Well, Godzilla is the same thing, but just on a wider scale, where it's the whole Earth. If any of the Titans come out of Hollow Earth at all, Godzilla goes and senses them and fights them, just like Kong did on Skull Island. So, one thing that I did want to mention is so that's it for plot synopsis. One thing that I did want to mention about the plot, about the plot of this movie, and kind of it goes in a miscellaneous section as well, is what happened to all the monsters after Godzilla, a King of Monsters? Just a question. We don't really have to talk about it, but it's like an interesting thing. It's almost a plot hole when you think about it. So anyway, but
my opinion, come on.
What's that?
I think my opinion is, since he is the god of monsters at the end of the movie, I think they subside. They know that.
No, but I'm saying, did he kill him?
Or that's my opinion. I could be completely wrong.
Okay.
That's my take on it. But we all have our own takes.
Okay.
I'm not here to argue nobody. That's just what I think it is.
Okay.
They all kind of subside. It's like, okay, he rules here. We're going back to where we came from.
Okay. So I liked the plot of this movie. I liked the way that it went. I think that it's the best Godzilla movie that we've gotten because of the action scenes and everything. I think that as far as a plot for Godzilla, the first Godzilla was really good with his origin. The second Godzilla was okay, and then this one was good. And then for King Kong, I think Kong Skull Island. I think that this is the best of the movies that's been made so far.
Yes, I can definitely agree with that.
And I think that Kong.
Yeah.
I would say I think Kong Skull Island was a better movie than any of the Godzilla movies, other than now this one where they're fighting each other. Just because of the action scenes.
Oh, action scenes for sure is what definitely won this movie.
Yeah.
Out of Godzilla.
And actually, that's what I was going to say too. Is like you said, so action scenes won this movie. I'm going to tell you right now, there are some plot holes, and there are some things where you're going to go like.
There's always going to be.
Well, in some movie, like in a movie like this, there's going to be some plot holes, but this one has a couple of plot holes, and you kind of go like, that's kind of you gotta realize, what are you here for? You're not here for the humans. You're not here for for some great grand story. You're here for Godzilla punching or scratching King Kong's face, and King Kong punching Godzilla right off of a battleship. Okay.
Which is probably my favorite scene of all time. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That's good. I liked it.
It's gonna be a spoiler, but I do want to talk about this scene. It's gonna be a spoiler. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry, Mike. I do have to scene.
Spoiler
this
alert.
Scene, it's not in the plot or nothing, but this scene right here is probably the best. This is where King Kong climbs into the battleship, and Godzilla comes into the battleship, stands up, and Kong just rears out.
That was in the trailer.
Probably one of my favorite scenes of all time. So I laughed when I saw that scene.
I liked it when you see, it's like Kong is standing on a battleship over here, and he sees Godzilla kind of going around another battleship over here, so you see him, and in between is a boat, and so you see King Kong jumps onto this boat and like real quick just kind of and I was like, yeah, ship hopping.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes.
So yeah, I think that my understanding is that they did not do an after credit scene because there's kind of uncertainty about where they're going to go from the movies. But I hope that they move forward with this because, I hope that so I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm just saying that there is room for them to move forward. With what they have planned with what they have put into the movies in the past, and then what they can go do moving forward. So I hope that they do that. So anything else about the plot or any of that kind of stuff? Like I said, plot holes, but you just gotta let it go to get to the action scenes and.
Well, it's like you said with the plot. It's like you said. There's gonna be plot holes, but the thing is it's not about the people this movie is not really about the people itself.
Which is a good thing.
Of course, undeniably yes. Definitely for the good thing, because in a movie, if you say King Kong, Godzilla vs Kong, and all of a sudden you see like most of the movie talking, like have people talking, Godzilla's doing this, King Kong's doing this. You don't see Kong versus Godzilla. You don't see that.
Right.
And that's gonna be a disappointment.
Too much humans talking about what's happening. Yeah.
Exactly.
In this one, it's just you see it. They just show you.
Exactly, and I love that. I mean, they describe kind of the reason behind it, but they don't say what's going on until you see what's going on. You see what's going on in the actual movie, and that's what I love about this movie itself. It just, in all reality, it's a great movie put together. The plot was great. The story was great. Action is honestly amazing, and just overall a great movie to watch.
Yeah.
I definitely would suggest it. What do you think, Mike?
We're getting a little bit long on the time here, so let's move forward into our review score. So here at Mike's After Action Reviews, we don't use numbers, we use ranges. So we have excellent, above average, average, below average, and bad. What do you rate the movie?
After everything we discussed, I will say excellent.
Okay.
Definitely excellent. Obviously, there's some little flaws, but I will say excellent.
So I would say that this is a high, almost excellent, above average movie. So I'm going to say above average, and here's why. Well, I want you to tell me why do you think it's excellent first, and then we'll kind of move forward.
I think it's excellent because there's, obviously plot holes, but I expect that in the movie anyway. But the action was great. I was on the. There was no boring parts. If there's a boring part, it'd be like maybe a second or two. And I was waiting to see what the next part of the story was. In a sense, I was on the edge of my seat the entire time, waiting to see what was going to happen.
Right.
So that's the reason why I said.
So I agree with you on all of those things. I don't disagree with you on anything. Here's my thing. So in the grand scale of movies that are, so I would say, so above average does not mean that the movie is missing anything to be good. It just means to me, anyway, so to me, I would say that there are things that are missing from this movie that would make it excellent, but what we do get is still great. Okay? So, for instance, like, everybody really acclaims Logan, okay? Or like the Avengers movies. Those are action movies. But one thing that I think that the Avenger movie, which I would say is an excellent movie, that this movie does not have, is you kind of get a little bit more character. And you kind of get a little bit more of an emotional impact with the characters. And that comes from, obviously, because they're people. Godzilla and King Kong are not people. So I would still say that, so like I would still, this is, so on average, like of all the movies that you could get, this is a high, above average, almost excellent movie. If we're just talking about the action, I would say excellent, if that makes sense. I still say so overall, high, above average, almost excellent.
Okay.
If for an action movie, this is the best action movie I've seen in a long time. So if that makes sense. The only thing is that for people who are not just interested in action, you've got to realize really what this movie is, an action movie. The Avengers movie, like I said, just as an example, the Avengers movie or the movie Logan, those are action movies that have a lot of heart. This movie is an action movie that has a lot of action, and there's a little bit of heart, but not enough to make it an excellent film. So that's my review. I do, like I said, I do agree with you on everything you said, and I think that we're basically saying the same thing. I just think of the scale just slightly differently, and that's fine. That's fine. So.
And that's a great part about like movie critique itself is everyone's got their own views on it.
Yeah. So.
That's what I love about it.
Okay, so that's it for us today. I hope that you enjoyed our movie review of Godzilla vs. King Kong. Make sure to be watching out. So I'm going to put this out, and then also I've got my action update for the second quarter of 2021 coming out, and I've got the second action update for 2021, and then I'm also almost finished doing Control. There was just some post production stuff I'm doing right now. All of those things got pushed back. All of my stuff got pushed back because yesterday I was actually in the hospital. I'm fine today. Everything's fine, but I was just very, very sick. I had a stomach bug. I was vomiting and diarrhea all day, and I was unable to get any of the stuff done that I wanted to get done. So I hope that you've enjoyed this review. Like I've said before, God bless you all, and have a good night.
Good night, y'all.